Well, what I try to tell, I have as you can see, I have a daughter and a son. That was taken a little while ago. My son is now 16 and my daughter is 19. And but what I try to tell them is never quit anything. If you start something, if you think it's important enough to start something, it's probably something that's a good thing for you to do, and you'll really be really proud of yourself when you complete it or stay with it. So pretty much, I always had in the back of my mind that when I start something, I will not quit. I will never quit, and I think that probably helped me um, stay in. And I think a lot of people were not 100% dedicated, and they thought it would be very easy. But sometimes, as we all know, the easy things are not the best things, and the best way to go is sometimes the hard way, and it pays off. Hard work pays off always. My dad was an accomplished person. He was also a Navy officer, so I always, in the back of my mind, even though I never really thought too much about it, I always thought, this would make my father proud of me. The more you live life, the more you see that it really pays off to not quit. It really, I mean, if you are interested in something um, enough to get into it, and if you want to quit because it's getting hard, or if you're not, if you feel like you're not good enough yet, well, that's something that you need to get better at and get over the hill. If you don't like something because you're not interested, that's that might be a different story. You know what I mean? But if you want to quit because it's getting hard, or you're not good, or you're not good enough in your own mind, I would say that you just need to keep trying, and you will be good, and you will be better, and you will be good enough. You've probably seen movies of Marine boot camp, and that is exactly what it was like. We had people. We would have, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 people in each room with bunk beds, and you were responsible for making your bed perfectly every single day. It would be inspected. Every part of your room would be inspected. There could be no dirt or dust. You had to clean the room. You had to make your bed. You had to make your closet. Your uniform has to be perfect. You can't have your hat, any certain way. Everything had to be perfect. And they're teaching you to be noticeable and noticing and conscious of anything that could be wrong, because they would show us, for instance, videos of uh, aircraft, helicopters or jets. And if you go around and you have to inspect your aircraft every single day before you go flying, and for instance, if you didn't notice one small nut or one screw or something was missing, then you could die. You could die because the helicopter could go out of power, or something could go wrong. And so they basically teach you from the very beginning to notice everything. So every single day they would wake us up very early in the morning with a trash can, a metal trash can, and they would bang it up and down the halls with a big stick, and it would be very loud, and everybody would jump up out of bed and go, what are we doing? And look around the room and go running out into the hall, and we'd line up, and then we would do basically muster in your uniform as fast as you could get a uniform on and get into the hallway. And then if anybody was late, then everybody would be punished with extra exercise. So you've seen all that videos of extra push-ups. Everybody has to get down, do push-ups, and then sit-ups and hop and pops, where you jump up in the air and do a jumping jack, and then you fly back down and do push-ups, and then jumping jacks, and it was crazy. So every morning was like that until everybody learned to get their uniform and their room perfect before you go out, and then everybody stands at attention and is inspected. And when everybody, after several weeks or a month or 2 months, whenever everybody gets correct, then the exercises are not so much. And then we practice marching after that. After we go into eat in a big mess hall, we eat breakfast and we march, and we practice classes. And the classes are about the Navy, the history, how aircraft work, and navigation, all of the things about weather, learning how the weather works and how to um, uh, understand where not to fly, where to fly, weather reports, how to read the reports, and then we go out and we do exercises, run, a lot of running, a lot of cross country, crawling through sand, obstacle courses where you go through tires and you swing on a rope, and then you jump over mud pits, and then you climb over walls, and then you do monkey bars, and it gets you in very good shape. And that's the one good thing about all that. But they really are looking to find people that don't want to give up, and that they're strong in their mind as much as in their body, because you have to be strong to be able to do the missions that they ask you to do, and to wake up early and understand that this is your mission and people are depending on you, and that it could be a little bit dangerous maybe, but that's part of the job. Just like if you were a fireman or a policeman or a detective or lots of other jobs in the world, they're sometimes dangerous, but that's just something that you understand, and they want to make sure that the people that they're accepting into the program are strong physically and mentally, and so they want people that are dedicated. They understand that sometimes you have to take orders, and that's something that sometimes as a young man you're not used to taking orders, and you don't want to take orders, but it's just something that you have to get used to. And that's why I tell a lot of people, to be honest, I think the armed services is a really great way for young people to learn about how to take orders, because in order to be the boss someday, you have to learn how to be not the boss and to take orders, and it works both ways. So if you see both sides of it, you understand how that is. And so after the end of the day, we will go in and we will have dinner after doing a lot of marching and a lot of other practices. Basically, things that they're just trying to make life difficult. And really, they want to make sure that whoever stays in really wants to be there. That we did, we call it cloud surfing. And basically, you have big puffy clouds out in front of you, and there's holes between the clouds. So you fly through the holes like this and go up and then down, and then you see the water, and then you start going towards the water. Thank you. And then you go towards the water, and then you dive up and away, and then finding more holes. And another great experience, I think, was probably taking off from cliffs that were really high above the water along the beach. And you take off and you go out, and the cliff goes straight down in front of you, and you just kind of push it over and you go towards the water, and then you come up, and then you take off and up the top, and I like diving down and then moving around through the clouds or just along the coastline and looking at the water. Also, I think one of the funnest things I saw was several times, many actually, where I saw whales out on the ocean, and we could come right on top of the whale and look down. And you've probably seen a lot of pictures of whales next to a boat, but what you don't see is the entire whale from the very tip of his nose to the back of his tail, and that's what you see from up in the air. And the same thing with sharks behind our ship. Would always go behind our ship that we land on, and we go back and we see what kind of sharks are back there, because the sharks sometimes eat some of the garbage that comes off of the ship, and they would wait for food, and then there'd be hot water snakes in the water also, the deadly kind, but you could see them going like this behind the ship in the water. And there's huge sunfish and turtles out there too. And from above, you can see perfectly. So I think those were some of the kind of more interesting things that I saw. Been some scary times. We're trained to be careful. Safety is always the first thing that we learn. And there's been some scary times when I was in the Iraq in the war. It was pretty scary sometimes when bombs were blowing up on the beach, and when sometimes we would see machine gun fire maybe. But yeah, it was scary sometimes. But flying is, I think, more safe than going down the highway, because you never know the person that's driving next to you. And then when you're flying, you don't have too many crazy people flying next to you.